Welcome back, everyone. Thank you as you make your way to your seats. Before our panel discussion, we want to have a quick shout out to the site for their unique audience engagement initiative. You've probably seen some of what we're talking about in the piece of paper that was handed over to you. It's the 1 meter square project, and it's part of their sustainable outreach where the site intends to grow its readership and new subscribers to 30,000 people in 6 months. Let's take a look.
1 square meter for a greener world. The German weekly newspaper Die Zeit, the news portal Zeit Online, and the Senckenberg Society for Nature Research distributed 400,000 packets of flower seeds to readers. The idea was that if each person planted just 1 square meter of flowers, the sum total of those many square meters of wildflowers would be significant. In addition, each reader would feel a sense of empowerment, aware that even a small contribution can make a real difference.
Climate journalism is often about big problems and big solutions. So with our project, we wanted to show that many solutions begin at home, in fact, right outside the front door.
The flower seeds produced by a German seed manufacturer were of the highest quality. The Google News initiative provided financial support for the project's management and marketing on the publisher's side, but were not involved in the editorial work.
The reader feedback was fantastic. So we received 1,000 pictures online and thousands of positive comments by our readers. It was kind of a candy storm of appreciation. So we definitely reached our goal of high reader engagement.
One wedding party even gave the seeds as gifts to their guests.
Aww.
At the heart of the campaign was a weekly newsletter from the editorial team about sustainable gardening. Almost 40,000 readers have subscribed to the newsletter, where they pick up on tips and trends around sustainability and biodiversity.
Our readers were reminded that they can make a difference simply by planting 1 square meter of flowers.
Thanks to this campaign, our readers experience us as a love brand. So we do not only identify problems, but also provide solutions.
Round of applause for the site. Talk about giving your audience their flowers, literally. Now, back to life, back to reality. Unlike our audiences, climate journalists, they often do not get their flowers. So we're here to speak to 3 colleagues on the topic, threatened while defending the planet. I have Mihai-Dragolea, a Romania-based filmmaker and journalist, Anna Brakus, director of Faktograf, and Leyla Mustfayeva, editor-in-chief, Abzas Media. They will talk about their direct experiences. Please note as a form of advice that there may be triggering scenes of violence and harassment. If you need to take your time off, we understand. And any slides you see with a big X, please do not take a picture of it. Thank you. Mihai, the floor is yours.
Hello. I'm Mihai. I'm a filmmaker based in Romania, a documentary filmmaker. And for the last 3 years, I've been documenting illegal woodcutting, forest loss, and corruption in Romania. Me and my colleague have been following around a... I just played the next one. I don't know what happened. Okay. So which one should I?
Okay, do you want us to switch?
Yeah, I want to the presentation.
No, that's my presentation. Do you want me to go first and then yours is probably next? Okay.
I'll switch. Okay, so be back soon.
Thank you, Mihai, for introducing me.
It's fast.
Yes, it was very fast. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Anna. I am the co-founder and executive director of Faktograf. That's a non-profit media association based in Croatia. We publish 2 different sites and do a lot of other things. One is called Faktograf, the same as the association. That's our fact-checking outlet. The other thing we do is called the Climate Portal. It's a solution-oriented, while using fact-checking methodology site that tries to offer solutions to the climate crisis. And today I don't have the same outfit as some of our previous people here, but I did choose a picture where I'm about 10 years younger. So that's just so you know. Okay, so the thing that I'm going to be talking to you about today isn't really a happy topic, but it's still an important one. It is sadly and almost a daily occurrence in our work that we get threatened, harassed, and things like that. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So a very recent thing that happened to me personally just around 10 days ago, I think, is I saw an email that we got from the place where we are officially registered, Faktograf, as an association. Because due to the level of threats and harassment that we had, for example, during the COVID period, we reported around 50 what we believed were credible threats of violence and death threats to the police. That was around 10% of things that we were receiving. So we decided that for the safety of our newsroom, our address cannot be known publicly. So we have a different space where we receive our post. That is, of course, a financial burden, but we have to do what we have to do. So I got an email that said, hey, there's an envelope that arrived for you. And it was addressed specifically to myself and Petar Vidov, who is the current editor-in-chief of the Climate Portal. But he used to run Faktograf, our fact-checking site. So he is pretty well known in Croatian media space. His name was once found on a person that was arrested in a small town in Croatia that actually made a list of people that he wanted to kill. And he was arrested with a relatively big arsenal of weapons. So Petar's name is kind of, it's out there. So usually when I receive a letter that is addressed to me, my first idea isn't, somebody is sending me a postcard. Somebody is going to probably be sending me something not that nice. So I woke up. I decided to go pick up the post. I went to this new place that opened that has really, really good coffee because I wanted to do something nice for myself before I went to the envelope. I opened the envelope, and in it, it said, please check this, thank you. And included was a piece of used toilet paper. So you can imagine I had a pretty shitty day from there on. But that isn't the worst thing, definitely, that happened to us. It can be, it's fairly disgusting. But the worst thing that actually happened to one of our people happened a few months ago so this is the Climate Portal. It's a nice picture to kind of make it easier for you to listen to all of this. So the thing that happened this summer is basically this. So, and this is one of the easiest pictures I could find. So in this picture here, she took this picture herself. This is a picture of my colleague called Melita Versalko, who was attacked in her own home twice during the same week. Because she was trying to do some filmmaking in that area of her small town. So her story is basically a story of what dangers there are for climate reporting, especially local reporting, and what can happen if you decide that you really want to investigate bad things that are happening, around you. The thing that was pretty good. This is Melita when she's sort of happy. The good thing was that we got so many, good reactions from organizations that are there to protect journalists, that are supposed to help us. We got some like mental health assistance and stuff like that. But the reality is that the Croatian police didn't decide that this attack was something that was horrible for her. They said that it is not a criminal offense because when the person came into her house, the door wasn't locked. So they are treating it basically as something that happened in the public space because that's their logic. We, of course, are trying to offer Melita all legal help that we can, and are going to try and solve this on our own. But I wanted to use today to basically tell you how are we dealing with these situations, what are we trying to do about it. So we had to figure out a way how we can maybe not use, but how to approach these horrible things that we know were happening to us, but we also knew they were happening to others. So we decided to kind of stop using just anecdotal evidence. We decided we wanted to do a huge survey of the whole fact-checking community in Europe. We talked to and interviewed over 40 different organizations. We learned that 9 out of 10 face harassment. We learned that the case that we face is not, how should I put this? It's not all that special. So this happens to journalists and fact-checkers everywhere. The issues that we have to deal with is because of the specificities of our work. We also have to deal with politicians accusing us of censorship because they don't understand that what we are doing is providing additional information all of the time. And what we have to deal with, especially in our region, is a little bit more kind of blunt, to be honest. That's what the research showed, that in our region, the types of attacks are a bit more rough. So we basically then used the research that we had to try to help other people and to basically put for good use the things that we had to learn along the way. So how do you protect yourself? What are the things that you have to be careful about? Mental health support for journalists isn't something that, donors usually include or funders usually include when thinking of budgets. So we had to get creative about that. We needed to figure out a way, and we do this for all of the 18 people that work at Faktograf. They receive mental health support from us. Don't ask me how we manage to fund it, but we do. And we wanted to create basically guides to help people understand what can happen to them. There's actually a person in this room, Thomas, somewhere. Here you go, Danish Thomas, that participated in this report, how to prepare for elections. Because what we know, what we have learned, is that crisis events, and that can be very, very different things. So from environmental disasters to elections, lead to heightened emotions, which then lead to us having basically an uptick of harassment that we receive. So the whole site, and this is very related to Melita's story because she is close to her home when she does most of her investigative work, is focused on trying to figure out solutions and trying to reach people as much as possible where they are. So this story It's in Croatian, but you'll have a QR code and then you can Google Translate everything. This is a story that she did just recently. She basically discovered the first one, that a hydro plant is being illegally built next to a very beautiful river. That led to the local population learning about it. They organized, they protested, we followed up, we covered everything around it, and it actually stopped. It was for us in Croatia, it was really, really strange, because in many cases, when people talk about impact, I think they do not understand that having impact in some countries or some places, it's much it's harder to quantify in terms of this is what we wrote and then this is what the politicians did, because in our case they are probably going to be even worse after you discover it. But in this case, it actually worked, and this was something that isn't really all that uncommon for our site. Just last year, Melita won the highest award for environmental journalism in Croatia. With our work, we successfully closed an illegal, I think you call it a quarry or something like that. But yeah, that was in a protected kind of nature area in Croatia. So the things that we do actually make sense. But the thing that is the reason why I was invited, I think, to talk to you all here, is that there is another side of this, of hearing terrible stories, how people are, unhappy, how lives are destroyed, what happens when climate change affects where you live, your houses and whatever. And journalists, I'm sure you all know, hate, bless you, when they become the story. They really, really hate it. Well, at least I do. At least the people in our, newsroom hate it. But some things have to be talked about. And in places such as these, where we not only have journalists, but we have, funders and donors and stuff like that, you have to take into account that we are not just writing about people, we are people writing about people. The things that we go through affect us. We as a group need to figure out a way how to take care of ourselves. Not to be the main story. We're not the main story. I don't want us to be the main story. But certain things in certain places are dangerous, they are threatening, and it takes a lot of courage to insist on doing the work that we do. So basically, thank you for listening. I hope you have questions, maybe later. And yeah, I can also later maybe tell you about some of the fun stuff that we're doing when we are not getting threatened. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Round of applause. We'll have questions. We'll have questions when everybody is done. We just want to give everybody ample time. Mihai, it's... Yes. Yay!
So let's take it from the top. As I said, I'm a filmmaker, and we try to do a movie about this illegal logging in Romania. And this is what happened. So let's see if the video will play. It plays.
Eu am fost atacat în pădure.
Volume.
La...
Cine?
De ceva cu topoare.
În care pădure? În ce localitate sunteți?
Suntem Dealul Negru.
Dar ce făceau de v-au atacat?
Ne omoară aici în pădure.
Deci cine v-a atacat?
Vreo 10-20 de oameni cu greu.
Care făceau ce?
Noi am stat aici în pădure.
Ca să ce?
Ca să chemați un localnic. Să demonstrăm ceva furt. Și au venit.
Furt de lemne?
Da.
Cum vă numiți dumneavoastră?
Mihai-Gavril, Dragolea.
Să rămâneți la telefon să vorbiți cu poliția, vă rog, da? Un moment.
Cât mai repede. Alo? Bună ziua!
Poliția de care urgență aveți?
Ne omoară în pădure, la Panci, dealul negru, dată ca 50 de oameni cu bute și topoare. Haideți să dată! Eu îl omoară pe om! Vă rog eu!
Unde naiba suntem? Poftim?
Activist din România.
Eu sunt în stare de șoc. Unde suntem aici?
În Dornă.
Mihai, unde-i? Unde-i Mihai? Unde-i Mihai?
Au dispărut, nu știu, ne-au bătut cu topoare, cu...
Eu nu mai știu de ce suntem. De ce suntem aici?
Am spus, nu declar nimic, dacă ne lăsați în viață. Și nu declar eu nimic, dar ei declară.
Eu am sunat la poliție, Mihai Dragolea, regizor, vă dau buletin, tot ce trebuie. Noi facem aici.
Rămâniți, vă rog, dumneavoastră la fața locului să
I-am înțeles.
colegii.
Domnul ăsta care vine mi se pare cunoscut.
Am o rugăminte, domnul Dragoi.
Vă rog.
Dragolea. Să efectuează niște cercetări, vă rog, filmatul mai puțin.
Da? Vreau să filmez și eu ca să am.
Nu. Sunt niște proceduri. Vreți să vă aduc la cunoștință și articolul? Din momentul ăsta puteți participa ca și partie vătămată, partie prezentă sau martor asistent, aceștia lucruri.
Toate sunt.
Dumneata, da, ești toate categoriile astea, o să stabilească colegii. În primul rând, nu-i loc public. Și vă rog frumos.
Vedeți că aici sunt proprietăți? Nu sunt furnizate de stat ca în alte zone. Aici proprietatea ca și în curtea omului. Ați înțeles? Deci să respectați proprietatea omului.
Nu mi-a fost zis să
So this is the start of our movie. You've seen it like in a premiere because it hasn't aired yet in festivals around Europe. So back in 2021, in Romania, in these pandemic times, there was an internet phenomenon on Facebook where a lot of men from the northern part of the country started broadcasting live on Facebook wood theft. They were chasing trucks, and we got interested in that. Of course, we romanticized it a bit, and we went to the area. We talked with some guys, and we ended up with Tiberiu Boșutar. He was our main protagonist. This is us a few days after the attack. We were in the capital trying to sue the ones who attacked us, destroyed the car, the video equipment, and beaten us up. Of course, to this day, nothing has happened because the area is very corrupt and you cannot do anything over there. So we followed him down this rabbit hole, going around the country, chasing illegal trucks, going into the forest until we got beaten up and jumped by 15 angry men with axes. They were much like, I mean, I imagined when they came at us, I thought I was going to die for sure. But they were much like, you know, Vikings, and you've seen these movies when they attack back in the day. They were much like that. So why did we try to do this film is because we feel, I mean, Romania is one of the countries in Europe that has a very biodiverse nature. We still have that, and we think we should protect it. We have forests that are old grown. We have a really good forestry law that it's under attack by big corporations, and we really thought that this is a grassroots movement that will help us, you know, try to keep what we have. As you can see, we have a lot of. We live with 6,000 brown bears, which is an umbrella species, meaning that we have everything down, like brown bear, and we have deer. You have everything. And we're really proud of this. We have wolves, and we still manage to live peacefully with them. And we really, the population of the country, some parts of it, of course, thinks that we should keep this. And they try to, you know, keep illegal logging and, of course, corporations from truly logging the forest and turning natural habitat towards a production habitat. And of course, the explanation is like we did not evolve, let's say, as much towards an industrialized country. Of course, we're not that, we are like second world maybe country, but it turns out it's not so bad because we still have clean water and functional habitat. So it wasn't that good. I think it's worse here than in Romania. Of course, you get beaten up, but who doesn't? I'm gonna skip this video because it's just a video of some wolves. So I'm gonna get straight to the thing that happened to us with this activist and why I'm here talking to you. As I said before, we were tracking down this movement, and we really believed this self-proclaimed Facebook activist, eco-activist, was a solution and a model. And we really, for like a year, we stayed with him, but something was missing. He seemed to have like a, I don't know, a hidden agenda, if you want, because he was a really, of course, he was a really expansive guy. He was a showman. He was like from a Scorsese movie. And we didn't understand why was he doing this, because he had a lot of money, so he wasn't doing it for the money. And during the making of the movie, we understood that actually his motives were not climate, ecology whatsoever. He never talked about the Romanian biodiverse world and rural communities that keep it that way. He just talked about maximizing profits and not stealing, actually. And it turns out that our climate activist was seeking to have, public outreach, to be very popular. And actually, nowadays, he's in a very kooky, he managed to make it to a populist party. They're spring out all around Europe. So he wanted to become a politician. Our eco-activist turned, while we were making this movie, into a, I wouldn't say far right, but a right populist politician. And that was his end game. Of course, we showed this into the movie. And it was, I think, this is what's cool about it, because I keep saying movie and filmmaking, but I think it also applies to journalism. Because you never have a saint. You're not doing a documentary about a saint, and he's like a bad guy, but he did some good things. He also did some bad things. For example, when we got beaten up, he knew that we were going to get beaten up by those crazy persons, not crazy, but by those men. And it was like a power play. He wanted to show them he has the media on his side. They didn't care, obviously, and they just beat us up. And so he was pursuing an agenda, a political agenda, a personal egomaniac agenda. So my advice to you as journalists, and especially in this climate environment, is like stay with your sources, characters. I'm not going to say protagonists because you told me they are like in movies. Stay with your sources and find out their motivation, what motivates a whistleblower. I think the romantic period of whistleblowers that was in the 2010s or 2000s, it's over. I think, unfortunately, it's over, but what is their motivation? Why are they contacting you? And they want, let's say, to fault a person or a corporation in order to do what? Maybe there's another one that's waiting just around the corner to step in. And also, this guy who you saw in the movie, he was also endorsed by Greenpeace. So I don't know if somebody from Greenpeace here, but it's funny, they didn't know also, but you need to stay a bit with your, of course, if you're doing long form journalism or whatever, you need to stay with your sources, with the thing that you're documenting, and be really sure that what you're reporting on actually won't do damage. Instead of it's in between. You need to find an equilibrium, I think, with yourself, because with this guy, we are still a bit, of course, shaken up. My partner doesn't remember the day when he got beaten up, but we're still a bit, what did we do? We empowered, we gave a lot of space to this person who now is a politician, who knows what he will do. So we try to, the movie, to show also this side of him. And yeah, I think this is like really important to identify the motives behind our characters, behind our sources. Yeah, so this was my presentation.
I think you still have some slides.
Some slides? No,
Okay.
it's over.
Okay. All right.
I deleted them.
Wanted to be sure.
Thank you.
Leyla, over to you.
So, thank you for switching to my slide. My name is Leyla Mustfayeva, and I'm a journalist from Azerbaijan. Currently, I am the interim editor-in-chief of Abzas Media, an investigative website from Azerbaijan. So most probably you are all get acquainted with this photo in the slide that Azerbaijan is going to host COP29 this year. There is just 1 month left just to visit this conference. But Azerbaijan authorities has declared that 2024 is a solidarity year for a green world. So this is their promotion phase, and let's have a look what has happened in last year while the government was preparing to this conference. This is our journalists of Abzas Media. Editor-in-chief, Sevinç Vagif kızı Ulvi Hasanli, director, project manager Muhammad Gekalov, investigative journalist Hafiz Babalı, Nargiz Absalamova, and Elnara Gasimova, reporters. They are in jail since November last year, 2023, on accusation of illegal smuggling of money to the country. And in August, the authorities aggravated the criminal case against them. They have brought 7 more articles against them, illegal entrepreneurship, and etc., etc. Which means they are facing now from 8 to 12 years in prison. But the main reason why this team members, journalists, are in jail is corruption investigations. It was the only media outlet carrying out a systematic investigation in Azerbaijan when they detained. So, this is some screenshot from our website. That what were they investigating? It was about corruption, which the family of the president, ministers, and other state officials were involved. And among them, there are Minister of Foreign Affairs, son-in-law of the president, daughter of the president, and etc. So actually just a few months before our journalists were arrested, there was a huge protest broke out in one of the villages in Azerbaijan related to gold mining. People were complaining against the construction of a second cyanide lake. And they were complaining that this cyanide storage is affecting their health, and the number of death tolls has increased in the village, and they were suffering mainly from lung cancer. And during this protest, one of our reporters, which is in jail right now, she was also filming it. And actually, it was one of the main topics discussed in the agenda of the country on this year's last year. The problem was that the president, after this protest, were blaming the Minister of Ecology that he let a foreign country to violate the environmental regulation in Azerbaijan. But how sincere they were, it is not a question anymore, because the minister right now is the president of COP29 committee, and they are going just to host this conference. This is a few photos from the protest that the people, the residents were really face to face with the police. They were using this tear gas, rubber bullet, and truncheons against them. And there was journalists detained, and also the residents as well, just for protesting and demanding their rights. These are journalists. The one with red jacket is one of our journalists, which is in jail right now. Another journalist has a travel ban related to criminal case launched to other media outlet. And the one, this Elmadin Shamilzadeh, he was also attending in the covering the protest, and they detained, threatened, and beaten. The cameras were confiscated, and he also was threatened in a police department with rape if he wouldn't delete the video from this protest in his social media account. And after our team members detained, the Forbidden Stories had launched the Baku Connection project in order to pursue the investigations, which couldn't be finalized because of the arrest of the team. And here the story came. This gold from this village actually comes to the European markets in your smartphones, used in your laptops that we are using to write our articles, our investigations. And these are these tech companies which are using this gold. And the gold comes here and refined by the refinery companies in Switzerland and used by these companies. And there was a result. The village is still under police control more than 1 year after the protest. Even we were not able to take water and soil samples just to test it in abroad to see if it has been contaminated or not. But unfortunately, we just were not able just to do it. And after the protest, the government just carried let's say tests, and they didn't release their raw findings of the water and soil samples. And as I said, that the village is still under police control. Only the residents can get in and can get out of this village, and no one. And the image of Azerbaijan. So COP29, Eurovision, F1. So it is an international event which helps the government to whitewash, to greenwash their image. Imagine the country, its export is heavily depends on fossil fuels. 90% of export depends on oil and 9% from gas. In this regard, what happened related to the people who were involved in climate issues, and just this year, a group of activists and human rights defenders launched a Climate for Justice initiative to bring the human rights violation to the attention of the international community this year. But one of these members of this initiative has been jailed. Another organizer of the protest in the village, which is called Söğütli, was jailed on fabricated drug charges. Actually, he had helped the people to print the posters, and he has been sentenced to 8 years in prison. Another one who has been detained after this protest, a former MP supporting the protesters in his social media account, has been sentenced to 7 years in jail. And the village protesting against gold mining and waste storage is under control more than 1 year. So there is no access there. Yes? Yes, I'm finalizing. So these are recent investigations that we did related to COP29, that we found out that the former son-in-law of the president has received funds from the state budget to host the COP29 guests. Another one is the deputy foreign minister, Yalchin Rafiev, and we found out that his brother's companies were involved in reconstruction in Karabakh and were lucratively winning the tenders and also violated the environmental regulation. They have changed the place of the trees illegally. So the company was fined, but the thing is that this fine is much so smaller than the revenue in comparison with the revenue that they are receiving. So they have just created kind of systems that always works for the interests of the officials. First family, his president, his close associates, also the relatives and the others. So these are the things that makes the work of investigative journalists in general, and also the journalists who cover topics related climate issues, very difficult. I mentioned here slap attacks to journalists. Actually, in this case, in Abzas media case, these 6 journalists, they didn't limit the attacks only with the arrest of these journalists. They involved their relatives. They involved other young journalists who have been attended in the projects that Abzas media related, trainings to the young journalists. They have interrogated and involved them to the criminal investigation. And the bank accounts of the relatives of the journalist has been frozen for a long time. And it is like, for the first time, they are punishing the journalists using just systematical attacks to all of them, friends, relatives, and etc. Oh, it's not my anyway. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Leyla. I'm trying to be mindful of time because I don't want to be between you and your lunch. But then I'm also thinking we have all these wonderful people here that can give us a lot of insights. Cora, can we take questions or should we go straight to lunch? We can? Okay, that's my boss. Okay, 7 minutes from your lunch, please. Could we have the mic over here for the gentleman?
Excuse me, but I'm an outsider here. I'm a professor from a Danish university. My name is Philippe Grandjean, and I can fully understand what has been put forward here by you as the essential communication colleagues for us who oftentimes serve as source persons to you. But I want to let you know that I myself, and particularly some of my colleagues, are being castigated. They are really suffering from pressures from outside. And I wonder if you have suggestions how we can better collaborate and also protect each other. Thank you.
Just so we have your question correctly, could you quickly tell us what you mean by outsiders? Who are the outsiders castigating, please? You said outsiders. Who are the outsiders castigating you and your colleagues? Could you tell us who? Give us an example, please, so they can answer.
Okay, so the most famous colleague that I have worked with is Herb Needleman. He is American. He was the one who discovered lead poisoning from lead in gasoline. And it continued for decades because industry and some of the media claimed that there was no proof.
Okay. All right. We've got it. Just to save time. Thank you. So what are your responses on when the media castigates the people that should be the source?
I mean, I can try to answer your question just a little bit, but I will broaden it a bit. So the issue that we very often face, especially since COVID times, is getting experts to give us quotes under their names. Because the things that I have described that happened to us, they also happen to them. So in situations where we want to talk to experts, for example, about the pandemic or about reckless endangerment of our environment or corruption that we witness or something that we have investigated and discovered that is illegal, very often, sadly, those people also get attacked. Their names are out there. They get harassed by emails. They are threatened. They get vicious letters sent to their faculties and stuff like that. So it's very, very hard, actually, to say, yes, we are going to use experts' voices in stories that are important for us, because that is something that we want to bring to our audience. The only thing I can tell you is that you are not alone in this. And in many cases, journalists that are reaching out to you are dealing with the same issues. What we started to do when we talk to people, and this is something, just my recommendation, doesn't have to be a solution, is we warn people ahead of time. We tell them, this is what might happen, just so they are prepared and that they don't have a feeling that we betrayed them and put them in harm's way. This is also something that we do in every job interview that we have. We say, these are some things that have happened to us in the last year. My recommendation for everybody is try to prepare the people you are talking to. What might happen?
I think that, quickly. A lot of the mainstream media maybe is funded by these companies that you're exposing, like lead poisoning and stuff like that. And my advice would be to go, usually if you have something, you should go to probably an NGO. You can check it online in your country or whatever. You can talk with them. And then if you're from academia, go to independent media. You can also check them a bit before you communicate with them. And if you have this combination between, let's say, an NGO, a powerful one, and some independent media, then a news can get out. And the mainstream media cannot fully disregard it if it rocks. So that's my advice.
Thank you. Leyla, quick, please.
Actually, we have faced ones related to this problem that one of our sources were disclosed, and he's in jail in Azerbaijan. I think it is mainly a threat for, in our example, for the local communities in our case. But the strategy that we are using right now, just not to be in direct contact with the sources that are going to provide us information. It would be better just to give it from a third or a fourth hand, changing and delivering in a different way. This is the only option. That my colleague said that our profile, everyone knows that who was doing Abzas media and why the team is in jail. And frankly speaking, most of the people that I have written here, that self-censorship of the sources. One of the problems that we already even can't get an open comment to our pieces facts-based pieces.
So what we see here is climate journalism and environmental journalism comes with that uniqueness of people not wanting to go on the record. And so you are suggesting let them know what they are getting into because the threats are shared by journalists and scientists, and also have a third party, a buffer to protect. Very good solutions. Do we have any other questions or comments in the room? There's someone there. Could we have a mic to somebody there? I cannot. The man in the yellow.
Hi, Roman Spanovich. I'm from Ukraine and executive director of Ruona Media. So, like, what you guys are talking, like, it's very well known to us, and we're from the same cohort, let's say. And so this is more about question developing the previous question, like what can be done when you do something like you do, because this part of journalism is very on the edge with some sort of activism, I would say. Sometimes I know no journalists like the word activism, but in the end, when you anti-corruption journalists, you expect that something will happen after you reveal bad things happening, right? Anti-corruption committees will jump in, police, specific prosecutors, everything. But when we talk about ecology, whom we should appeal to, like, how do you feel where you go with it? Because otherwise you just spill it to your audience, and then they are like, okay, like more negative information, but what should I do with it? How do you expect? Because like the same with the wood cutting, the same thing happened in Ukraine in 2020 when it was actually the whole thing that the illegal wood was going to IKEA, specifically to IKEA. You know that nothing happens, and even FSC was founded by Greenpeace. They said like everything's fine. Like we get like whom we should appeal when everything is jeopardized on that end already.
How do you move the story forward, right?
Yeah, so just the thing about activists, that's what we do at Faktograf. We are not activists, but we are active participants in our society. I don't believe in a completely neutral journalism. For me, that doesn't exist. I believe in transparency, openness, stuff like that, and I believe that builds trust. What we did in many cases of the stories that I presented here is, first of all, we shone a light on places where almost nobody goes. It was so refreshing for me to listen how, the Danish public TV works. Like, that's not the case in Croatia. In Croatia, they actually sued the president of the Croatian Journalistic Association, the TV, the public broadcaster. So it's a different world, in some spaces. So the only thing that we can do is to try to connect with people that actually live in certain places. What we will try to do in the future is to engage them even more. We are currently thinking about making a type of town hall where we would want to go into the places where we reported from and get the actual activists, because sometimes you get citizens that are unexpectedly turned into activists because they learned what is happening in their area. And we will try to sit them in a room with actual decision makers in their local communities to try to help them have a somewhat constructive debate about what can be done. But like in general, we are not offering solutions to every problem in the world. We are just trying to do our bit. And I think sometimes what we do as journalists is we put so much on our backs. We are a part of a system. We only have to do our job. There are other people, other spaces, other, communities that have to do their part. So we won't solve everything. We can just report on it.
Just
really sorry, my love. I'm going to have to keep to time because Gara is on my neck. But people, please feel free to grab Anna, Mihai, and Leyla and talk to them about what's going on, and feel free to support journalists as they take on this risk for the rest of us. Let's leave with one word from you all. Journalists that report on climate are not activists, they are active participants, and we welcome you to join us and participate actively. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Anna, for Mihai, and Leyla. Thank you.